Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Nightmares Podcast, where we talk about all things horror, comics, video games, you name it. I'm your host, Zack Smith, with Mark Conway and Brandon Rakowski. How are we all doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen?
What in the actual fuck was that?
I have no
so
idea.
you heard it too. I thought there was something wrong with my
No,
audio.
he went from like sportscaster then all the way to Southern Oil Baron. I don't it was like it shifted like halfway through the sentence, and I was like, I don't know,
Look, you told me to intro, so I introed.
Either-
That's what you know what to expect whenever I intro. You're gonna get something random. You never know what it'll be. It might be Sportscaster, it might be Southern Baron, whatever the fuck that is.
Oil Baron, listen to me. You never listen.
Does anybody listen to you?
Hey, Zach, who shot JR?
He made one historical joke, and it worked. We all laughed. It was a fun weekend. We got over it. Anyway, Brandon, what the hell are we talking about?
We are talking about what horror movie universes we would live in.
Okay, to be more specific, it's
Zach
not just...
came up with the idea, so let him explain it.
Okay, it's not anything horror or dark themed related, so just to leave it a little bit more open, because most horror universes are something you would not want to fucking live in.
Mostly.
And we
Mostly.
came up with a couple rules before we started recording.
Yeah, so...
Not many, but just enough to sort of guide us along.
Yeah, if you are in said universe, you don't need to specifically be in the area of said, major event, like Nightmare on Elm Street. You don't have to be on friggin' Elm Street, alright? Friday the 13th, you don't have to be at Crystal Lake. So on and so forth. And
So theoretically, if you want to be in the Friday 13th universe, you could live in freaking Australia where Jason can't get to you.
yeah.
Okay, so we're not putting like a distance limit or anything. So you could literally be as far away from the event as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just hear about it on the news.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, if you're in that universe, that still opens a bunch of possibilities for a bunch of scenarios. So, I mean, especially in the horror genre, things are pretty, supernatural or spiritual. So even if you're not in that one place, something, somehow, somewhere could happen at some particular time in a particular place.
Very well.
Indeed.
And what was the second rule we came up with?
You don't need, you're not like a special character or anything like that. You are you. Also, alright, so you're also going into this completely unaware of you're not going into the universe with the knowledge that you would have theoretically.
Yeah. Basically, if you say you want to be in the Nightmare on Elm Street universe, you don't have the knowledge from watching all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah.
It's you discover everything as if you were actually living it.
Yes. Indeed.
Any other rules?
Nope, that's it.
All right.
And again, this is open to comics, video games, movies, you name it.
And I'm sure we'll make up a few more rules as we go along.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, I have the
We're-
base
we're
rules
little
established.
kids like that.
The
Oh my god, yes!
scared the shit out of Brandon with the live volume.
I am wearing headphones here, Zach.
And also Zach's normal volume was exceeded in that 2 moments, so Brandon wasn't used to Zach's volume going above a certain decibel.
This is true.
So, Brandon, you want to go first?
No.
I guess I'll go first then. Fuck,
wait.
me then.
I like how we literally waited. This guy literally waited until before the podcast started. So what are the rules? What the fuck do you mean, what are the rules? Why didn't you ask me this earlier? I didn't feel like it.
Well, I didn't come up with the questions until today, and I was at work.
By the way,
You
just
didn't
for
think
everyone,
to ask this when we established we were doing this on what, Saturday, Sunday?
The questions didn't occur to me then.
He's like that fucking little kid who the parents ask him, do you have to go to the bathroom before you leave the house? And then they drive an hour or a half an hour down the street, and Brandon's like, I gotta use the bathroom. Why did you use it before? I didn't have to go then.
What happened was I was on lunch today, and I was looking through horror movies that I've seen, trying to decide what universe I'd want to live in. And then it was like, okay, I came across Candyman, all right?
All right.
Well, I mean, that would be an easy one, just because it's like if you know about the Candyman movies, just don't say his name because you know that it's real. So that's what brought up the question, do we have the knowledge of these movies?
Yeah, I think most
So
people
it's-
go into these like, oh yeah, you know everything. No,
Yeah.
that's like realistically, you wouldn't know shit
Yeah, so it's
unless we ask the question: if you were to open a portal right now and just say fuck our universe and go live in another one, that question, is its own thing. But if you were to like currently live, so two different
So
questions.
it's like if we were to choose Candyman, we wouldn't have the knowledge of 3 movies and an upcoming remake, and we would know, just don't say his name and you'll be fine.
Also, why the hell would you want to live in that universe? That's boring if you don't know about the Candyman shit. It's like
Pretty
ours,
much.
just without Candyman. That's
Pretty
why
much.
you really got to think hard about this.
And actually, to be perfectly honest, it's only fucking 20 minutes away from where we're at currently.
Well,
Actually,
the first one is.
the first one is. It's about 20 minutes south.
Wait, is it 20 minutes? No, it's got to be a little bit more than that.
No, it's 20 minutes, brother.
Really?
Dude, hey, like, remember Uncle Julio's, the place that we went to dinner? It's like right there.
Really?
That's
where Cabrini Green was?
Cabrini Green.
Oh, Cabrini Green.
It was North Avenue and I always forget that cross street, but yeah, no, right.
I always
North
thought it
Avenue.
was further south.
No. It's like literally in between. Yeah, it's like right there.
Shit.
Like right there.
All right.
The
Because what year was that demolished?
Oh, it was like the early 2000s.
Yeah. Because I was too young to give a shit at that point or to like really know about it, but yeah.
Well, yeah, you were also far enough away from it.
Dude, I was on Addison and Irving.
Oh yeah,
Ashland and Irving.
Yeah, you were way the hell away from that shit. My family was closer to it.
That's right.
Than anything. So, anyway, continue while I'm looking this up.
Well,
And I can go first if you want me to.
Please.
Okay. So there were a couple I was considering. One would be sort of like the whole Stephen King universe.
okay.
Like all of his novels or nearly all of his novels are connected. A lot of his short stories as well. So that leaves a whole lot of interesting things open to happen in that world, especially if you live in Maine, and especially if you live in the fictional town of Castle Rock. But I don't know. That felt like I feel like I don't want to go with that as my official answer because I feel like we've talked about Stephen King a lot on this podcast. So I want to have something a little different for variety purposes. Another one I considered was Dead End Drive-In. But then I realized that would really suck to actually live in that universe. It's pretty much, it takes place in like a post-apocalyptic world. Think like sort of Mad Max-ish. And pretty much instead of like prisons, they just toss all the undesirables into this giant drive-in theater that's been turned into a city. All right, and it's like all the food is like drive-in theater food. People basically live in cars and everything. There are theater screens. Of course, that would be a prison. But also, recently I read a book called The Drive-In by Joe Lansdale, which kind of illustrates just how horrible living in a world like that would actually be. Because that's a book about people who are actually trapped in a drive-in theater, just a regular drive-in theater. Pretty much this meteor traps them in like this dome of black goo, so there's no sunlight coming in, no wind, no sense of time. For a while, the only way they have to keep track of time is they know how long the movies they're playing are, so they pretty much the projectionists are the timekeepers there. So they just have like rough approximates of what time it is. The only food they have is just candy, soda, and hot dogs. And
That would get old really
it
quick.
really does go into
Oh,
how
yeah.
it affects people's mental health and everything. Like the main character basically just becomes just like a lump in a chair for like a good portion of the beginning of the book because his diet is literally just sugar and hot dogs, and he's just looking at this movie screen that's just hypnotizing him basically.
I like hot dogs, man, but I wouldn't like them that much.
Nah, dude,
Yeah.
hot dogs. I've been turned off of hot dogs for years now. It's yeah.
And What else happens there? People do start resorting to cannibalism.
Of course.
Yep. But there's this one character that goes around. He gets nicknamed Crier because he's like the town crier essentially. So he goes around and tells people any news around. And it's like the different quadrants of the drive-in basically become their own neighborhoods, let's call them. And he's telling the main characters about there's this one couple that eats their baby just because they're hungry. And the reason why people are mad at them and putting them on trial isn't because they ate it, it's because they didn't cook it first.
Oh. Yeah, nothing about that.
That's the kind of humor in that book.
Jesus Christ.
And you thought about living in that universe.
Well, no,
Well-
I consider Dead End Drive-In for like a brief moment because it's like, okay, it's like a city that's a drive-in, but then I remembered, all right, I read a book about that. That would be terrible. It would just be absolutely horrible. But yeah, I do recommend at least watching Dead End Drive-In and reading The Drive-In. I haven't read the sequels yet. There are 2 sequels, but the first book is really good, especially if you like fall of society type stuff when people are trapped in a bad situation. And then it does get really weird in the second half. What's going into these people's bodies is nutrition. What energy would you really have?
Nothing. You'd have non-existent. Yeah. Oof. No.
Yeah, like it would just be terrible. So then I kind of landed on Gremlins.
All right. I'm in for that.
Interesting choice.
Well,
Little gremlins.
first off, if you follow the rules, you could have like a little mogwai as a little pet.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Nobody ever follows the rules, but okay.
Yeah.
That rule's going to get
And
broken
and
at some point.
Gremlins do happen. I mean, unless you're like, a rotten old lady, they're not going to kill you. They're just going to be like super annoying.
Yeah, I mean that actually was what I was going to bring up because you probably have the best odds out of any other situation of not dying because most people didn't die in that. Actually, in Gremlins 2, I don't think anyone died.
I don't think so.
Gremlins 1, a few people died. They for sure, but like in Gremlins,
Like there's the old lady. Was there anybody else?
I think like the cops get squashed over by one of those rollers, the construction rollers, or somebody gets rolled over on there. But besides, that and then the old lady, like no, nobody dies.
Yeah. So yeah, and for the most part, it would just be like super annoying.
Yeah, oh yeah, extremely annoying.
Yeah, because I at least wanted to pick a universe where it's like something horror could still happen. I didn't want to do like the earlier example of you're in the Friday 13th universe, but you're in Australia. Jason's not going to get to you unless we want to do Jason Down Under.
They would. They
No.
would do that. They would do that. Anyway, Brendan, what
Yeah,
else?
So, yeah, that is why I would not want to live in a drive-in type world and why I might want to live in a Gremlins type world.
He just had to sneak in his little, wink to the camera moment.
Fucking gremlins.
But also, it's do I want to live in more of a Gremlins world or a Gremlins 2 world? Because, like, if my life can be interrupted by Hulk Hogan yelling at Gremlins in a movie theater, that'd be pretty cool.
Look, Gremlins is Gremlins, all right? It's all the same universe, so...
Yeah, but there's such a tone difference between 1 and 2.
It's very true. 1 is a lot darker, and people actually do die in 1. So
Whereas 2 is a flat-out Looney Tunes cartoon. It starts with a Looney Tunes cartoon.
yep,
It has been many a year since I've seen those movies.
They're really good.
they are really good.
Second one's awesome.
The second one is awesome. I'm very, very happy that I watched it with Brandon. That was a good
Yeah,
recommendation.
like Matinee and Gremlins 2 are Joe Dante's 2 best in my opinion.
Matinee's fucking amazing.
Although I do want to see Second Civil War because he's often said that that's his best work.
Fair enough.
But I haven't seen it yet.
Fair
His
enough.
choice.
So, Zach, your turn.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. So this one was tough because it's like, what horror universe would you prefer to live in? I don't know, because most suck. You don't want to live in those places. So I landed on 3 that I kind of like decided to just fuck with between. So the first one, the Top Cow universe. So that's the comic line, Darkness, Witchblade, the 13 artifacts and stuff. And the reason I chose that is because there's a slight chance I could get one of those fucking powers, which would be awesome. Darkness would be number 1, which would be just fucking amazing. Like, to control that is like the ultimate fucking power. It would just be amazing. Second one, AVP universe. You have Colonial Marines, which is awesome. And then you have the very slim fucking chance you could hunt predators or join the predators. Slim chance, but it is a chance.
This is true. It did happen. It did happen.
And then the third one is a cop-out. Slasher universe.
Yeah.
It's the combination of like, all right, so
that
the theory that Freddy, Jason, Hellraiser, all those are in the same thing. And the reason I choose that one, every single one of those assholes started off as a human before they turned into a super badass killer.
It's not going to happen to you.
You don't know that.
It's not going to happen.
You don't fucking know that.
It's not going to happen to you.
Yes, it is.
It's not happening.
It would happen because I'm awesome.
That's beside the point.
I would sacrifice you to make it happen.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
It didn't happen to them because they were awesome. It happened to them because something horrible happened to them first.
And then they became ultimate killers, which is awesome.
I worry about you sometimes.
They
Perfectly
weren't
fine.
good people to begin with either.
So,
Yeah, it's true.
you got to kill people afterwards, which is awesome.
One was a child murderer. The other one was a horrible mama's boy who got tortured by a bunch of campers.
And became a zombie somehow.
Sure. One's a sexual deviant.
Which one's the sexual deviant?
Hellraiser.
There's
a lot of that going on.
a lot of BDSM, but it's mainly just, flesh play.
It's literally like subtracting, not being able to discern the difference between pleasure and pain. And then what else am I missing?
You got Michael.
Chucky.
He was a criminal and a psychopath and
Voodoo magic.
and into voodoo magic. So he got transferred. Not also, but a bad person. Billy and Stu were both sociopaths, and one had severe mama issues, not unlike Jason Voorhees, who was the biggest mama's boy in the entire
Well,
horror
don't forget,
universe.
you also have the Necronomicon.
Yeah, but you're
that's-
nowhere
and-
near as awesome as Ash.
But I could be awesome as that.
No, you can't. You cannot, sir.
Look, give me a boomstick, I'll make it work.
No.
No.
Fuck you.
No. That'd be incorrect, sir. You are not. You are not that charming. It's Bruce Campbell, man,
I will shove a shotgun up your ass and pull the trigger.
and it still won't be as awesome as Bruce Campbell doing it.
Yeah.
You don't know that.
I do know
We
that.
do
I know
know
that
that.
for 100% of fact.
I would bet money out of my wallet on that he wouldn't even come close to how awesome.
I mean,
he
there's
is.
only a dollar and an expired Blockbuster card in there, but what the hell?
Does Brendan even know what a blockbuster is?
Yes. Do you?
Of course
Yes.
he does. He's our age. How can he
I'm
not know
older
that?
Yeah, but
than
he lived
you.
in apparently a New York suburb.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. A dollar and a family video card.
There you go.
We had Blockbuster.
we weren't these hopeless hicks that you think we were.
Did you not hear my Blockbuster story?
No, I never heard your Blockbuster story.
Okay, well, it's not really a story. It's more of a detail. So
Well, now I'm disappointed.
So back when Netflix was still known for just sending movies through the mail, Blockbuster did their own version of that to rival them.
I remember.
But if you got it with Blockbuster, you would also get 2 free in-store rentals as well per month. So since we had a Blockbuster near us, that was kind of the better deal for us because we would actually be in that area quite often. So it's like 3 movies at a time in the mail, but also 2 free rentals a month. Why not?
Yeah, I do remember that.
I remember they had Movie Pass and Game Pass, which was phenomenal. Especially for me because, I couldn't afford to get like a new game all the time. So Game Pass, a new game comes out, rent it from Blockbuster, bam, good to go.
Dude, I remember my dad and I were actually customers of Netflix, like way when they still used to do the mail in. And it was such a cool thing. I mean, we remember we actually sat down on the computer and went through their entire catalog, which obviously is not as big as it is today, but it still was pretty fucking big for the time.
What were the first movies you got?
Actually, a lot of them were documentaries. We watched
Okay.
a lot of documentaries. I remember we had like a bunch of them that were super, super nerdy and analytic about history, but there was also a really cool one we got about wrestling. I learned a lot about, historical figures in wrestling. William Taft and fucking Lincoln were both bear wrestlers. It's crazy. So like, and then we ordered a lot of things, and it was just cool because we actually had the premium one where you can get like, I think like 3 or 4 at a time, and then rent them out. And then we just literally had an entire queue that we built over the course of like 2-3 hours of going through their entire catalog. And then we just kept returning it. I remember asking him, like, are we even close to getting through that? He's like, no, not at all. But yeah, I remember Netflix in the early days.
But what were your first ones?
It was probably that. That's the first one I remember. The wrestling documentaries.
We never used the mail-in Netflix. We always just went to what's it called, Hollywood Video, when that was still a thing, and then for some reason we transferred over to Blockbuster. I can't remember the reason we stopped going to Hollywood Video. I think it was something to do with Blockbuster having the better rental deals or something like that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, but at first for many years it was Hollywood Video, and that place was fucking phenomenal. Just looks, everything beautiful. Fucking loved it.
Dude, I remember when they got rid of all their late fees at Blockbuster. Like, I remember all their different categories that they used to have. For like right when they were about to close, maybe a couple years before they actually completely closed down, they completely got rid of late fees on all their videos. VHSs and DVDs. Back when that mattered.
And a little bit of time where they had Blu-rays.
Do they really have any
It was
Blu-rays?
a very short time.
I imagine it was.
I could absolutely see them having Blu-rays. I mean, it's not like, let's see, when did the first Blu-ray start coming out? 2005?
07, I believe.
Was it 07?
I believe it was 07.
I don't know why I thought it was 06. And
Because I remember it was a big deal, and it was like the PlayStation 3 came out, and Spider-Man 3 was one of them, and Talladega Nights was one of them.
June 20th, 2006.
yeah.
Which one?
That's when the first Blu-ray came out.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm like, no, it had to be like 2006 or something.
Yeah,
That was close.
That was crazy. So, anyway, any more, Zack?
Yeah, the preferred universe I would love to live in, though, Brutal Legend.
Of course you would. And of course, once again, not horror, but in this case,
I don't know what it is.
Heavy metal, it is horror. There are demons, it is awesome.
Zack, again, I agree. It is awesome, but not horror. But okay.
It can be, damn it!
No, not because you want it. You just want it to be. You just want it to be right, and you're not right.
So, Mark, how would you like to live in the Scream or Conjuring universe?
I would only live in the Scream universe if you guys and David were with me, because then all of us would survive.
Well, one of us would be the killer.
Yeah,
Brandon.
that would actually also be accurate.
Two of us.
Well, it depends on what movie you're watching. Because technically in 3 there was only one.
So does that mean at some point one of our sisters is going to be the killer?
Yes. My money's on you, Zack.
I could see Tessa doing it. She would make me proud.
But yeah, no, I would only live in the Scream universe if all you are there, because my odds of survival would be very, very high, because we all know the fucking rules.
Well, Brandon would die in the sequel.
You really think he's fucking Randy? Yeah, that kind of checks out.
I was going to say, is that a serious question?
Yeah, I guess that checks out.
Did I even need to say anything about that?
No, you did not.
Okay.
No, you have no opinion on that. Yeah, Scream if you all were there, for sure. But the 2 I would love to do, just because, yeah, I'd probably fucking die, but it would be awesome to live in them, is Zombieland and Dead Rising. Just because of all the crazy...
Aren't they pretty much the same thing?
They pretty much are the same thing.
I was gonna say-
However, but that being said, all the crazy...
That's like saying you want to live in both the Armageddon universe and the Deep Impact universe.
Fair enough.
So here's the beautiful thing about just the Dead Rising universe. Those zombies are so slow and stupid that you could just have a fucking blast.
You want to live in both the Volcano universe and the Dante's Peak universe.
One happened in Los Angeles. The other one happened at Mount St. Helen. They are different locations. But yes, they are pretty much the same.
You want to live in both the Wyatt Earp universe and the Tombstone universe.
That is, you shut your whore mouth. How dare you say bad things about Tombstone?
I didn't say bad things about Tombstone. They're both Wyatt Earp movies that came out around the same time.
Fired. And then also it's Rio Bravo, and then what else? There's another one that's like Rio Bravo. It's literally the same fucking movie. I forgot the name of it.
Assault on Precinct 13?
No, but that's also another version of that as well.
The remake of Assault on Precinct 13?
That no one saw.
I think it had Ethan Hawke in it.
Oh, yeah, that's right, they did. Anyway, so yes, Dead Rising would be fucking awesome because of all the crazy shit that you could do.
Yeah.
Like get into a Mega Man suit and blast zombies with an actual Iron Man.
Dude, you can make a fucking lightsaber. You can
Yes.
defy the laws of physics and make an actual freaking lightsaber, because why the fuck not?
while wearing a scuba suit, and then in some ridiculous cases putting Frank in a dress. Because why the fuck not?
Yeah, exactly. Just fuck all logic.
Fuck everything. Yeah, no, dude, that would definitely be it. Probably die, but I don't really give a shit because that would be a fucking blast. And zombie.
Not if you put on the ninja suit. If you put on the ninja suit, you're invisible to the zombies. Cause logic.
Yeah, because reasons. But yeah, that and Zombieland. But yes, they are very, very similar. But Zombieland is a lot more open road. And not being so contained in one location, but both had the same.
Yeah, it's because the military always instantly quarantine shit, and then you have, usually 72 hours to get shit together, otherwise, nuke!
Yep, pretty much. Pretty much. But yeah, both of those would be fucking tight. I would very, very much. And actually, it come to think of it, you all joke with me about the Conjuring. I would not want to fucking live in the Conjuring.
Nope.
Once you get into that house and everything else, that fucking thing follows
they
you
claim
everywhere.
it's based on true stories, and they are actually based on real cases. So if you really want to get technical, guess what, Mark? You are living in the Conjuring universe.
You better start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one. Still
What's that from?
Pirates
of the Caribbean.
Never heard of it.
Just a fun adventure action movie in 2003. It was fun.
Yeah,
It was good.
when Disney was still making halfway decent movies.
Sure. But yeah, those would definitely be the movies I would pick.
Did you ever see Pirates 5, Dead Men Tell No Tales?
I did not.
It actually wasn't
that
half
bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is shocking.
Here's the thing, in my opinion, the worst one was part 2. Part 2 was fucking boring.
Yeah, it kind of was. I actually think that the entirety of part 2 and 75% of part 3 are all fucking boring.
Really?
When we actually get to the shit in part 3, like the actual final confrontation, it's pretty tight. They
I don't know. I enjoyed all of part 3. I thought part 3 was awesome, but yeah, part 2 bored the shit out of me.
I would say 1 is the best.
Okay.
2, I want to like 2, but it has 2 major issues in my mind. The first one is some of those action scenes, particularly the one on the giant wheel, go on for way too long.
Oh yeah, it's exhausting.
Trim some of those action scenes and you have a super exciting movie. But also, it was at the beginning of that trend where we're going to take one story and split it into 2 movies.
Yeah, that.
So we didn't get an ending. So it's like, trim the action, give it an ending. You have a really good movie there, I think. Third one didn't really do it for me. It has some good action. It has some good set pieces. Just story-wise, it just doesn't do it for me. Fourth one, on Stranger Tides. They had a really good idea. Fountain of Youth, mermaids, Ian McShane as Blackbeard.
Sure.
Awesome. But then they're just like, oh yeah, it's a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. We have to overcomplicate everything.
And then overexploit Johnny Depp in every
so it's like
possible
if
way.
they simplified the fourth one, I think it would have been really good. But
I still think the fourth one was a good enough movie. I don't give it as much shit as everybody else likes to. I was entertained for the fourth one. The second one is the only one, in my opinion, that's just boring or bad.
Dude, I get Pirates fatigue, man.
and then the fifth one actually wasn't bad, and they actually give Barbossa a lot of character development in that one.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And Johnny Depp isn't in that much, actually.
Okay, so they finally learned from their mistakes.
Pretty much.
There's just like there's a lot of good stuff in 3 that's pretty fun, but most of it is relatively boring. Although I'd probably have to watch it again to actually really give you another good perspective on it.
That's fair.
This is one of my favorite lines of all time from the entire Pirates series. I think it was in 3. When he's literally on one of the I think actually it was 3. He was on the enemy's ship, and then he's like,
"Oh, you're insane! If I wasn't, this would probably never work."
No, and I love that line, but it's a line that follows when his lieutenant was like, "Do you think he plans all this, or do you think he's just making it up as he goes along?" And I was like, wow, what an excellent way to describe the entire Pirates of the Caribbean series.
Exactly.
Everybody's making everything up as they go along. So, Mark, any other universe besides Zombieland and Dead Rising?
I think that I know it's also a zombie movie, but I think Shaun of the Dead would be fun. Notice that a lot of these are.
I mean, all you gotta do is just sit in a pub and wait for everything to blow over.
I think most of those would be pretty awesome. I mean everything else though to me is like, well, fuck, I don't want to go there because the chances of me dying are probably pretty fucking high, and there's not a lot of awesome shit that will happen to me once I die. I won't go out awesome. So I'm definitely going to stick with those. Those are definitely my good picks. All right, so I'm going to ask the question that I thought, that you guys thought of earlier on before the podcast. What universe would you go to if you knew all the rules?
Maybe Lock and Key.
Okay.
We're assuming that we've either watched all these movies or read all these books or read all these comics. Probably. I don't actually, since I'm an adult now, I don't know if that would actually work. So scratch that. Because in that, once you're an adult, you forget about the keys and everything. But, that's actually another good question. Because I know the rules, but I remember that adults don't remember the keys, which would mean I remember the keys.
Hey Zach, you want to give this a whack while he's having a mental breakdown?
I'm still trying to figure it out.
Okay, I'm gonna steer clear from Lock and Key right now, just for simplicity's sake.
Fair enough.
That's definitely not Nightmare on Elm Street.
Fair enough.
I have a hard time sleeping as it is.
You probably do very well, actually.
Good point.
You probably would do pretty well. This is the third time I've stumped you in the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
I'm very proud of myself.
Not the H.P. Lovecraft universe.
No, definitely
Nobody has
not.
the mental capacity to deal with that shit.
That's a good point. I would probably do Blade. If I knew all the rules and I was also a vampire hunter, I would definitely want to dig in that universe. That'd be awesome. Or actually, you know what? And I'll even add, I would do the supernatural universe. I would add that actually to both of my lists.
I was gonna say Supernatural would just get so tiresome after a while.
After the 5th year, you kind of get tired of it.
But you know what, though, also, too, you pretty much cover all your bases of every piece of folklore you could possibly...
but it's like...
Dude, if that happened to me, dude, I would definitely hit the road.
Sam and Dean, they got it covered.
Okay.
Just let them do their shit.
Would I want to do Beetlejuice? Because I know of all the bureaucracy, so maybe I can try to bypass it.
Oh, okay. I'll give you that. That's pretty good.
I might go Beetlejuice.
All right,
because then when I'm alive, I can just live my normal life. And then when I die, whatever.
Got it covered. How about you, Zack?
Predator.
Okay. All right, fair enough. I figured that was coming.
Yeah, like, if I know everything, then I know how to deal with the predators. I know where to expect them, and I know how to train.
I was trying to find another. There was one more movie that I really I was thinking about a universe that I wouldn't mind living in, but I would have to be part of the group. Near Dark. I'd be fine with either one, knowing and not knowing the universe, but I'd have to be involved I'd have to be in the gang. I wouldn't want to be one of the victims. I have to be Bill Paxton. That's the only way that
Mark, you are not Bill Paxton.
I know I'm not. I understand that, but I would have to be something similar, or I'd have to be in the gang, to make that work. But to know all the rules would be even more awesome. But yeah, that's
You are no Severin, and you are no Coconut Pete.
Fine. I know I'm not. You still need to watch Tombstone. It's awesome.
Yeah, one of these days.
It's been on my list since forever.
Yeah, and you have it somewhere in this house. I know you do.
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
No kidding. I
thought you did.
No.
I would have figured you did.
No.
That sucks.
Yeah, and I've heard nothing but great things about it since I was a teenager.
Oh yeah, that's right. You haven't seen it. That's the one Western that you haven't seen.
And there are other Westerns I haven't seen, but
like the
that's
main
probably
one.
that's probably the most notable one I haven't seen.
Fair enough. The
Directed by the father of the guy who directed Mandy.
that is super fucking interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So all right. Well, I think that covers it.
I think he also directed Rambo: First Blood Part 2.
That is also interesting.
It's also an awesome movie.
It is an awesome.
Oh, look, 93. Val Kilmer.
Yeah. Oh my god, he's fucking fantastic in it.
And then Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner was the year after.
Tombstone's better.
That's what I
I'm
hear.
going to go and assume so.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Kurt Russell.
Yep, there's a bunch of people in that. Billy Bob Thornton's in that too. There's a lot of people in that movie actually. So I think that about covers it.
I think so.
Brandon, you want to take us out?
Yes, thank you for listening to this episode of the Nightmares Podcast. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and be sure to leave a comment or review, and look us up on all of our social medias at Midwest Horror Network on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and
Slasher.
And of course, please click that little dinging bell so every time that we post new content, you will be notified it. You can post for some of the videos, customize it, or all the videos, depending on what your individual choice is. And please tell your aunts, brothers, sisters, uncles, best friends all about our awesome channel, the Midwest Horror Network. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time on the Nightmares Podcast.